This episode is sponsored by our Patreon supporters. Okay, the truth is, all of our podcast episodes are supported by the Patreon subscribers. With their help, they have allowed me to put in a little more time to creating the podcast. So if you have found this podcast valuable and would like to show your support, consider supporting us on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/032. That's 032 in letters. And this is incredibly helpful because this is a very uncertain time right now, like this whole pandemic. And you'll get a sense of that in this discussion from this podcast. So thank you to all the Patreon subscribers. And if you decide to subscribe via Patreon, that would be helpful. Thank you. Let's get on with the show. Welcome to 032 Conversations, the podcast where we talk to creatives, see how they live, and how they do their work. I am your host, Carlo Villarica. I had another episode in the works, but I thought it would be apt to have a little coronavirus discussion, uh, specifically about how to cope with this whole situation that we are in. Hopefully, you are like me in that you have a roof over your head, you have food to eat. You are probably worried about the future. I know I am, and yeah, so I talk about it with some friends of mine. So because I don't know about you, but in many ways this pandemic has been a little worrisome. So if you're listening to this, you probably like having a little forward motion in your life. Maybe you have some things that you want to achieve. Maybe you've had a few goals for 2020 and this pandemic has put that on hold. Um, it this thing is many things. It's scary, frustrating, maybe it's even freeing. It may even be a good thing to you. So this episode is a little different. Um, but before I get to that episode, let me talk to you about since this is a Zoom, this is basically an online meeting. Zoom has had a lot of security problems. Fortunately, we're not sharing the meetings publicly, like the password and stuff. But anyway, so I've since we're because of this pandemic, I haven't really been able to meet with other people like face to face. So we've been doing like some Zoom meetings, and I thought it'd be a good idea to record some of them. So this one is in particularly interesting because it talks about our uh, fears from this whole coronavirus thing, this whole pandemic. And one of the side effects is that for the first time ever, we have real video. So if you're listening to this through your podcast app, there is a video component now. I'm going to try putting this on YouTube. I've never done that before with a video, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure I can upload this to YouTube. And it's weird. I can see myself on the screen. I haven't brushed my hair in who knows how long. I haven't shaved. I think I will shave today. Uh, this looks look pretty disheveled. Anyway. So this episode is a little different. Every month, I usually have a mastermind group. It's basically a meeting with my peers. So we talk about the meeting is structured in such a way that the first part of the meeting we talk about our wins, what went well for us, what are our challenges, and the second part is the challenges. And then the third part are the goals that we want to achieve in that month or in that year or whatever. So sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's career, sometimes it's business. It's almost like a support group in a way. So since this whole coronavirus thing, we had that mastermind, or the April mastermind via Zoom. And so, it's interesting because we talked a lot about coronavirus, as you can imagine. It has a lot to do with our fears, the the different strategies of how we're all coping with it, and even finding the bright side in all of this. So in this episode, you're going to hear from, and if you watch the YouTube feed, you're going to see uh, Kahlil Corazo. You might know him. He is the first person ever to be in the podcast. He's had another episode also where he even interviewed somebody. So that's him, Kahlil Corazo. Mark Cortez, he was also been interviewed in the podcast. He was and currently still is the vocalist of Rescue a Hero. FYI, I think we'll be releasing a new song on April 15. Check that out. Johnn Mendoza of Birds of Cebu. He has a cool YouTube page about birds of Cebu. He talks about that, and he runs a hotel called the Center Suites. Jonas Pacifico, he's an architect under Pont, and also runs a restaurant called Capriccio. I think it's now called Cocina Capriccio, if I'm not mistaken. And my cousin, Mozart Reina. If you listen to the Gabriel Wong episode, my cousin Mozart Reina was kind of infamous in high school. But he is, should I say philosopher? That'd be cool if I could say philosopher. But he's also a Ashtanga yoga teacher. And one of the things is this: so that's the mastermind. This is the first time I'll be posting a mastermind episode on 032 Conversations. But if you didn't know, this is actually a throwback to our very first real podcast. So back in 2016, Kahlil and I and a bunch of other guys, we used to record the mastermind and we would release them as podcast episodes, and it was called Third World Startup. I'll link to it in the show notes as well. That was way back in 2016. I think we did it for like 2 or 3 years, I think. And in fact, it has one really good episode of there was a lecture that Kahlil recorded of, I'm blanking on the guy's name right now, but their family owns Oak Ridge, pen shop, I believe. And then that was like a really eye-opening thing for me. So he has a lecture from that guy. So yeah, check that out too. After you're done with this episode, 'cause this one is banging. Coronavirus content. Ugh, that's kind of depressing. If this is your first time to listen to 032 Conversations, please subscribe. We will have a new episode every Tuesday. Let's get on with the show. Okay, we're recording. Please do not say your social security number. John had to leave the room.
That sounds like what he said.
Hey, he has toilet paper.
Hoarding, huh?
We're rich, you know. That's why we have toilet paper.
Status signaling, right?
Status signaling. Okay, how is everybody?
Good, man.
Coping.
Wait up.
I've actually been quite productive in the past week.
Oh yeah? I watched a lot of movies.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I'm not productive at all. It's kind of like, I'm still, like, trying to, like, grasp it. Because, like, you know, when they say, oh, we're going to be in lockdown for just 4 weeks, automatically in my head, that's not going to happen in 4 weeks. Like, you know, they can't just, like, oh, back to normal in 4 weeks. Yeah, I think at this point, I'm still kind of trying to put my head around the whole, all right, so all your, like, plans for this year is just out the toilet now. And, like, all right, deal with the storm, not the,
Yeah.
you know.
That only dawned on me recently, as I mentioned. Like, it's gonna be a lot longer.
So yeah, it's
Or
kind of
can I just say your audio is really good?
yeah,
Mine?
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I have a,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a microphone.
He's a pro, man. we go through the
how
what's called?
like, how are you guys like yeah, because I can't concentrate at all. Like I have like online classes, and you know, obviously like everybody has a lot of time, but I can't stop thinking about like, shit, this is bad. All right, like trying to like kind of like hold what I can hold. It's kind of like falling, and you're just like, oh, all right, grab onto something, like you know. And I can't, I just can't concentrate on doing something productive.
There are actually several episodes by on in Tim Ferriss show and the Peter Attia podcast dealing on how to manage your mindset.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you take a screenshot, man, of this? Anyway, let me just do that. It's like
Free.
I'm gonna take a screenshot too.
You know?
There.
Evidence. These were the guys I was talking to that day.
Now,
Yes.
like we've been doing this for like years, but we don't have one picture ever of the mastermind.
Actually, yeah, you're right. This is interesting.
Anyhow, so let's go
Are
to
you
the
guys using your phones or are you guys using laptops?
Laptop.
using laptop.
I'm the only one using my phone.
Sorry, what did I? So, Koi, you mentioned Namurag, you're just having a hard time.
Yeah.
Forward
So like,
getting
so
motivated.
we're having like online classes, right? And I think this is the vibe of my class. Yeah. So I'm studying electrical engineering at the moment. So you know the teachers are kind of coping and like changing their lesson plans because like a lot of my I want to say like 60% of what I'm studying is like hands-on electronics, and then like you know like obviously nila kaya online, and it's just like, oh, so you guys see this little transistor here? So that's the blah blah blah, and like it's kind of ang akong analogy is like it's like the Titanic sinking, and then like you know people still playing their violins, and you know just kind of like, all right, we're musicians, still have to do this, and but you know like the bigger picture is like the boat sinking, and like how can we pretend to kind of like carry on as normal?
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of in a similar situation as you are. Like, I haven't been very super productive over the past few weeks. I mean, like, I've just, you know, we have so much time now, and it should have been, I could have done so much more with the time that I have. But what it's been like is I'm just solving problems that pop up along the way. And when I'm not solving a problem, I'm sitting down and just trying to grasp the reality of everything. It's just surreal for me. It's been a few weeks, but it's still very surreal for me.
Yeah, I know for me that I don't know. I've just been work-wise. I'm hardly doing anything. I've been doing very little work, and then I'm just so I don't. And in a way, I also don't know. I'm more of trying to think what's going to happen with this whole thing in the future, but and how to not make it affect me badly. Because there's like a lot of things, you know, like me and my wife, we just bought a house. There's payments there, and then of course cash flow right now is a big question mark. You know, things like that. So there are still bills that are being paid, and then so that's a big thing that's hanging over our heads right now. No.
Ikaw, Nas, because like I feel like I'm sort of out of place since I'm actually quite have been quite relaxed in the past week. Perhaps because I went through my what you call this crisis in the past 2 years. I'm sort of been practicing for this. But Nas, how are you feeling now?
Well, I'm still busy. My construction is still ongoing. So I'm doing 4 things, right? I have architecture, construction, restaurant, and then the building rental. Obviously, building rental karon dead. So I'm thinking of maybe I will give them 50% discount siguro sa lease for this month. Construction's ongoing, but 20% of my site site workers. So of course the timeline kana napa ko mga I'm still doing my recovery plan for font architecture. I'm very lucky na last year, if you're by the way, it's my conjure in the entire 2019 April until now, wala ko nag-mastermind. I just like i-check na ko mga notes ba.
It took a pandemic to get you the mastermind.
But anyway, for Juan, if you remember last year, my drive is really to have a desktop-less office. So laptop tanan, and then that forced us to upload all our stuff online. So Google Drive, and then so basta mo to ako mga goals last year, and then na-accomplish na ko. Luckily, na murag easier kaya among transition right now ba, working from home. So all the systems, processes are wala naman, uploaded naman, systematized, so digitized. So I'm okay with font. Just this week, just this month, April, ning decide ko to shut lang sa and then rest. Capriccio is my challenge because right now I'm still computing my burn rate, and then it's the runway na di nako ma-determine pa, meaning until when ako ma-stretch ako ang resources to help them. And then let's say if I can stretch my resources, so let's say 6 months, no, the max ba, but I'm looking at 2 months right now, but hoping na the quarantine will end soon, especially sa Cebu na wala na tayo new cases. So I'm hoping na April 20 or end of April we're back to normal. It's the recovery plan na sa Capriccio, because obviously yesterday ba to, or the other day, John mentioned about behavioral changes. So affected kaya ang restaurant for sure. So I'm
for sure.
Wala na. So 70% of my revenue comes from private functions. So gathering, for sure, wala na kay mga gatherings for the next months. I guess wala mga party anana. Though it's a cultural thing, Filipino loves to kuan man jud, party, gather, but I'm guessing Christmas pa siguro ang next. Wala na.
I would agree on that one. Christmas pa gid sunod.
Christmas 2021.
Christmas if ever.
Last question ha. You're still open sa Capriccio ba, or close na din mo?
So different kuan ba. Right now actually kay I'm doing kana yung active there's a lot of learnings right now. So I don't know if you're following kanang kang Duterte ba, na yung mga speeches kanang addresses gali na makakita ka na siya anger, na siya desperation and all. Na ako'y murag I can relate when I did the meeting with my Capriccio staff ba na decide ko na shut lang sa, and then after that I asked them na what do you think is the ako gong gibali instead of me making a firm decision kung unsaon ako sila pag-compensate. Ni-ask ko na what do you think is the best thing for me to do, no? And then biyaan sa nako sila game ko na we have to decide within this week. So murag akong meeting for Capriccio is Tuesdays man, every Tuesday. So Thursday akong gatagan og deadline. Thursday evening ning namslay murag spokesperson ba. So ni dool nako so the entire team decided na they're okay to have stop operation ba, no work, but they're still asking for a full compensation. So kanang it's not fair ba for management for the company. So of course sa ako I mean impossible said ba na inana nako, then I don't know how long ang quarantine, 2 months, 3 months. So I gave them a counter proposal, which eventually ning agree ra sila. So again, John, thank you. Ikaw sa naghatag sa idea to release the 13th month prorated 13th month pay. So I did that, and then of course I added a financial assistance at Gamay. And then next for my next month's plan. Oh, actually, right now na April, I'm gonna give away my kitchen stocks. The perishable. Anyway, di man sad madaot naman to siya. And then again,
sorry,
yes.
did you document your closures in your restaurant? Like, was there a memo? Was there documentation? Now, no closure, nobody's going in. Because ang Dollar Region 7 is that you're supposed to report this, including all your employed staff, so that all your staff will receive 5,000 pesos.
Yes. Yeah,
in place of the plan.
Yes, correct. Yep. Nana, na-apply namin for that. Of course, that's one of the things na ila yung erase no, that even now, they keep on messaging me. We have a group chat man na asking ano ba, kanang follow-up good, na how's the dollar thing, the financial assistance, but ang dollar ni reply naman, but of course, government, that will take them how many weeks pa siguro para mo release.
Is this a one-off 5,000 or is this like a monthly thing for people?
One time.
5,000, one time.
One time lang. So that's it. So it's really the company will shoulder the I have no intention pa man of kanang laying off ba. Wala pa jud. So I'm still trying to stretch ra jud sa akong resources karon. My big
and I don't also recommend laying off. Okay, I checked on that na kana siyang laying off. Now what would it take for us to kanang remove people? We are actually kanang eligible. Pero naay requirements ang government for you to do that. That means imuhang financial report, ang imuhang tanan books nimo update tanan for the next for the last one or 2 years.
The easiest way out jud ba is to file for bankruptcy. Which kana jud easy, clean tanan, even utang, even kuan, wala jud kay problem sa labor law, right? But of course, you don't want to do that. But kay ba, mura kag failure as a businessman. I mean, sa ako lang ba, no? So I'm trying to look for solutions pa right now.
Well, I think if this thing keeps going, there'll be a lot of people who will file for bankruptcy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Estimating mo, it's like 60% of their customers will close down.
Is that what he said? Crazy.
In the chat, diba? In Facebook.
So it's like a business challenge for us. It's a kuan ba, opportunity for us to be creative with new ideas, which what I'm hoping right now at ma-discuss ba. What do you think can I do for Capricho and
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Mo was gonna be here. It was Mo who opened that very interesting point of business continuity. Okay, I never really thought about that. I just kept thinking along the way, how am I going to solve? How am I going to increase revenue? How am I going to... That's always what I've been doing. I never thought, can I find a way that I can still make it through within the next 6 months if business is bad? That's something that I'm very concerned about.
Yes. For quant and construction business, it's really the recovery plan. That means mitigating the delays ba sa mga backlogs, no? But operation, same ra. For Capricho, it's not a recovery plan. It's a redirection of the business na yun ba? Where siya, lahit na yun. I cannot do the same thing na akong gibuhat last year. So it's different. And
I'll give you a perspective of what's happening sa among F&B. To be frank, I closed down my lunch and dinner completely, and my breakfast is super skeleton force na lang yun. Because I don't have plans to open lunch and dinner anymore for the next 6 months, only because I don't think there's a market to sustain it. That's how bad I'm predicting it.
John, do you still have people staying in your hotel?
Well, they are staying, pero they have concessionaries outside the hotel. So they really are just staying there for accommodation. That's just it.
So, guys, before we move on, do you want to go through the traditional agenda or like is this like should we address a special situation here, for instance, like the personally approach crisis or your business, how to help or how to think about it? What do you think?
We can do the wins, challenges, and goals yapon. So Mark can join. And then just do it quickly ba. Then after that, we'll do the interesting discussion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with
Right.
that.
Also, it's also good practice to once to remind ourselves that there are
Oh
also
yeah,
wins.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Would like to start with the wins.
I have a few wins.
Okay.
All right.
So now that we have a lot more time, I've been doing some and I can't really go out, so I can't really bike outside. I mean, I cheat. Like I'll buy bananas and take
Useless.
an hour home, another hour going home. So, but I also been doing like core exercises. Like I did some this morning. It was fun. Just doing those things. So that's something that I would have never done if it wasn't for that coronavirus. And then another win is, my son a few days ago learned to bike on two wheels. So that was a nice thrill. Um, yeah, so like the wins are basically like that. I get to spend more time with my kids, think a little bit about life, about this whole thing that we're in right now. So that's my win.
Mhm.
Who's next?
John, let's do it by the panel.
I'll go game. So John?
John?
Done.
Sorry? Is it me?
Yeah. Let's
I
do it by the
can't hear.
panel.
Okay, so I don't see how it looks like here. But anyway, wins. I managed to make the hotel continue running at a very last minute. The community quarantine was supposed to start on what date was that? March 28th. Oh wait, what's this? Okay, anyway, sorry.
Upgrade
Hello.
now
Got a
includes
gift from
unlimited.
Zoom.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zoom.
Okay, so you know how the community quarantine was supposed to start March 28th? And the rule of the government was I can no longer accept bookings after March 28th. I got my bookings, from March 28th onward, I could not receive any more bookings. Cebu City, that was Cebu City. March 30th for Cebu Province. So Cebu City started March 28th. I got my bookings at March 27th in the evening. On the last minute, it was crazy. So actually, I was supposed to close the hotel somewhere mid-March, and I was really contemplating about it, but I decided I was going to bleed through for another week or so and see how it goes. And I guess the decision was right. And I got two telco companies, I got two BPO companies who wanted accommodation, and the reason I got them because I could adjust to the requirements that they were asking for. The other hotels could not. So other hotels still could not adjust their rates and of course their setups because they were stuck with their system, their hotel management system. For me, it was like I just completely cut off from the system and just said, okay, what do you want? I'll do what you want for this price. And then it worked for me. But it happened so fast and it was high pressure, high tension because we were sort of like racing with other hotels. But we managed. So for me, that's a win. Second is, so we're still running on profit, and I'm hoping to use that profit to help me bleed through the next few months. And the second win, I guess, is we also managed to do some charity works a little bit, not a lot. The hotel has become a headquarters for a charity program called Bayanihan Mission. And what we do is we repack relief goods so that we can help people get through the quarantine period and so that they don't have to go outside. Mostly people who really have nothing at all. So I guess those are my two wins. Yeah. I won't count my Netflix binge watch completions as a win.
It's just I've watched more movies the past few weeks than I have all of 2019. I'm pretty happy
Oh
about
my,
that.
I can agree with that.
Who's next? Who's next wins?
Jonas?
Again, okay. So I'll go through my my okay, point digitize, that's my win. So right now I've really tested it and happy ako na it worked. All the spreadsheets na akong prepare, established last year, put into use right now. For Capriccio, I reshuffle my entire team. So the reshuffling is based on Kwan shop performance and not by credential. So this is very unorthodox, but I know na dili mo agree ani tanan kay you have to respect man the credentials sa staff, no. So right now the person handling the managing the front of house ba is actually high school grad lang. So murag na ako'y na murag naka overtake siya sa mga guys na who graduated jud og kuan kanang HRM, culinary. So but anyway, gi-embrace naman nila. I think obvious ra sad kayo ba ang skills needed for that position gali. So that's a win for me na na-achieve without any mess gani na gi-embrace ra sa team. And then I've changed Capricho's name, but I didn't change the business permit ha. I changed it to, instead of Cafe Capricho, I changed it to Kusina Capricho. The intent ani last year is to lessen gali the I don't want to present it as a cafe or a restaurant na. I'm slowly developing our online and delivery service man. So which is aligned rasad now. So kusina sounds more kuan ba? Pwede gali siya na I can do another kusina there and another kusina here. So kuan na siya ba? Di siya ma-touch sa akong dining space. So I'm happy na achieve na for AMP building. Again, if you remember last year, I keep on mentioning my challenge is how to convert that extra unit space na mo into something na maka-generate of income. So I was considering of doing a co-working space. I remember mo ato, and then you guys give me a lot of inputs about the requirements, data, blah blah blah. Kana siya right now. It's already done, and of end Feb, I renovated the place. I did a small business there. I call it the ideation room. So it's a rental space for meetings ba. So I just created a Facebook page for that. But right now I'm nakathink lang ko na how to incorporate this kind of feature. I think I need to have a camera there. Sky right now I only have a big wall for writing, a internet connection, a wire jud, and then the screen. Right now I'm thinking now maybe this is the future of meetings gali. So I need to have this kind of feature, the Zoom camera. I don't know pa. But that's a win for the AMP building. I have a new business inside. For the personal things, I'm notes here from last year kay triathlon, that's check.
Di ba nakauyab ka ba?
Anak kayo, dugay na kayo. Basically na-check na, no? So I hired a secretary na. Successful na yun ba? Like mga 4 siguro pa candidates. the other one kay medyo worse kayo na lang, she lasted for a day lang. After that, resign siya. I think dili makaya. But right now, okay na siya. Psychology grad. Big help. So that's a win, personal. And then, I don't know if I've mentioned this, I patent a product, the chess piece. I think money ang last project akong na-mention sa mastermind last year. You guys haven't seen the actual product yet, na reproduce. So I have a chess piece na design. I called it the chess bar. Corny kayo, but basta if you can imagine it ba na the board can be folded and then mura siya bar. So, I'll show you. I'll share photos later. And then I finished one sculpture last year. And then right now, because I have time, I'm doing one right now.
Is the butt?
Yeah, the butt. The butt, no. So yeah. So this is a win for me, personal and time ba for Kwan. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm happy ra for the quarantine. Bill. Oh, Mark.
The butt.
All right. Win. It's kind of mura siya dili man siya mura dili kayo. I feel that the wins are kind of like looking at the cracks ba, of this whole thing. Pero one win is that so apparently the government here is really gearing up for this to get worse. So a couple of days ago, I received an email from the Ministry of Health and the Nursing Council to request for people who practiced nursing back in the day to re-enlist, basically, as a nurse.
Wow.
Yeah, which worked out. Well, it's kind of like, like I risk my life for way dumber things and dumber pursuits, and I'm super anti-war, and I think re-enlisting as a nurse and doing that job again is kind of the the inverse of signing up as a soldier to go to war. You're basically risking your life to help people in a way. And I thought that after I finish realistically after I finish my course in July, I meant to be in an apprenticeship program for 3 years as an electrician, but unlikely, by the looks of things, unlikely na the quarantine will be over, so I wouldn't be able to get that anyway. So anyway, I have the nursing job to fall back on, which is great. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for them to get in touch with me to kind of like, place me wherever they need somebody, they need a nurse. Yeah, so like business wise or personal like career wise, that's the win. And personal win, when I was in the Philippines, me and Carlo used to be in a band called Rescue Hero. We're still in a band, right, Carl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we recorded a song, and then we're gonna release it on April 15th. So I'm really excited about that.
Nice.
Oh, Kahlil.
Cool. All right, turn. So for me, the immediate horizon. So I just interviewed a possible replacement for one of my teammates, is Sam, who's gonna take the bar later this year. So I'm getting someone to do the billing and collection part time, and I'm gonna hire someone else more technical, maybe there in Davao. Maybe an advantage here is that there will be more supply of fresh grads, since I imagine less companies will be hiring because of the state of the economy. So that's something I'm going to be working on in the next few months. But for billing collection, I hope this part-timer will work out. We'll see. So that's immediate horizon for the current business. And the other one is like, I think the chocolate business will have to be closed since the main customers there are coffee shops, and I don't think coffee shops will be thriving in the next couple of years. Also, it's I think I got what's called this. The benefit I got from running this business was sufficient for the time and money I spent there. I was able to get to work with my brother, learn about chocolate, and also it was what I found out was like it's a very tough business fundamentally because of the competition in Africa, which like us slave. The world price for chocolate is very low, so you have to compete in terms of like the experience and all that, so many other things. So it's a tough domain to make money in. So yeah, I'll try to see if I could pass it on to my uncle, because I probably move to Davao or Manila in the next few weeks or after this pandemic. So that's sort of a win, the clear decision there. So the medium-term horizon, so I sent you an update in this this article I wrote. I want to examine whether there's a market for doing this as a service for
Mastermind.
this mastermind. Like, why aren't companies doing this? This is very valuable. So I just want to see that. Let's see whether there's a market. There's actually, it could be a business. I mean, the mere exploration of that, I feel, would be an interesting journey. Like, I'll be talking to 2 CEOs this week, and then another thing I'll be doing there is also to ask them how they're thinking about this current crisis, how they're modeling their decisions. So that's something I want to create as well as I talk to these CEOs for those potential. So the other 2 ones that I want to examine is whether coaching, personal coaching, is something I want to do. Is there a demand for it? Corporate coaching, I have to be trained. It's a significant investment. So I'm doing my due diligence and seeing whether there's actually a market for that and what will change after this pandemic. And third one is this, it's like a startup weekend kind of workshop. It's called Mesa Method in Brazil. So I might as well pitch that as well, since I'm talking to CEOs. So Image Horizon, and then for my so the win there is that I got it going. So 2 discussions this week. The next one is for my, let's see, biology. So yeah, we just ended our semester, and then my Carson method of note taking and writing. So I've gone deeper into that. I just wrote a 38 tweet thread and published it 4 a.m. today.
I'll check it out.
That's sort of doing okay. I mean, I'm getting the hang of it, and I think it's this kind of writing method is working. I'm developing my own style, so it's quite interesting. So, and then for around 15 months, with this method, I could already start doing that. Right now, I have to learn Python, which is something I've been hoping to do for the past years.
What's Python?
It's a computer programming language, like C++, like basic. So it's
Python, huh? Wow, that's challenging.
Now I just need to know enough to do bioinformatics. I don't need to program. I don't need, so it's just it's for.
I took a glimpse of Python as a language, and it's far more complex than, let's say, Quick Basic, Virtual Basic, or even HTML, XHTML. Python's a bit more complex. It's not as simple as the other languages.
No, it's a time for that, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure you can.
Well, that's it. That's it for me, man.
So we'll get to challenges.
Wait, Kahlil, I just want to ask. You said productive time so far in the quarantine. Before you became productive, was there like a period of, wow, this is happening? Oh my God, this is happening.
I don't know what's with. I don't know, man. I'm now. I question myself as well. How come I'm very stoic about this? And my only explanation is that I went through a very difficult period in business, like the past 2 years. Like it almost disappeared, like all these things. So I had practice. I think that's, I don't know. I feel like I've been preparing for this. That's my, I don't know, man. But that's what happened. Or maybe I'm using this as a way to to not because like I know that there's nothing I could do, and my worrying will not help anyone. Um, so it seems like this is the best time to. I mean, you know, yeah, but, like I'm even surprised because like one of my cousins is COVID positive, but he's young, so it wouldn't be a problem. But it's like I'm just surprised. Like I was thinking, like should I be more worried? Should I panic or something? But this is this is what happened the past couple of weeks. So I didn't have that. So challenges.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, going back to what you said, Kahlil, I think like I when you were speaking, I was thinking about it, Namurag. Also, like we can't really do anything about this, but I think like for me, it's kind of an opportunity to sit back and assess, like reassess, things in general. And then the only tricky thing is, and this will be the challenge, and I suspect a version of everyone's challenge will be pretty much the same as mine, will be like, what does this look like in the near future? 2, 3, 6, 1 year, 2, 3, 6 months, 1 year from now, and how are we going to, you know, actually, if there's a way for us to be proactive, that would be great, gani, no? But Mona, so how do we fare after all this happens? And then so I think for me the challenge is figuring out, getting an idea, and then this is kind of wishful thinking because no one really knows, no? But getting an idea of what this is going to look like in the future. Hopefully, there's an assumption that hopefully things don't get too bad. That that the world as we know it will be like really really bad, like like in the movies bad, but hopefully it's going to just be different in many ways, and it'll be bad for some people and better for others for sure, no? uh I'm just going to try to be in the how do we make it, not so bad for us, or better yet better in the future, diba? So that's the challenge. Like where I am right now, one of the fortunate things that happened to me is that uh, I'm kind of in a I'm kind of in this middle area where I don't really have much happening right now, even before the pandemic. So because I invested very little on, like as you guys know, I wanted to open up a business this year, and then that actually might still happen, but not, we have to see first what happens to this pandemic. So fortunately,
Gar,
there's
I need
nothing
to add something
invested
to what
there.
you say.
Go.
You mentioned you wanted to open that bike business. By the way, there's an executive.
Hello, John.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I got cut off. I got cut off, but there's an executive order.
Okay, there's an executive order that says that you're allowed to open up and operate a bike shop.
Yay!
You mean like in it's not one of the businesses that have to be closed, you mean?
Yes, because they want bike people who are looking for transportation options to use bikes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a bike shop yet, so I can't really do anything.
But you could open. You could open, right? That's a possibility.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the quarantine is going to last forever, huh? I think what's more likely that's going to happen is that there's going to be a version of social distancing. So probably no gatherings, but probably regular things will happen. Like they will allow restaurants to open with a very strict guidelines, probably. I don't know. I can't. I don't. It seems very unlikely that the quarantine will keep going for months and months and months. I don't think
Not
the
necessarily several months, but it's gonna extend until end of May. That's what I'm predicting based on how the medical community is responding to it. So
possible.
probably until end of May.
Yeah. So is that your main challenge, Carlo?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I verbalized it correctly. So basically, the challenge for me is um, just being flexible and you know trying to filter out the information that's coming in ba, on what is uh, the right thing to do, no? Kanang in terms of like me, I want to open up a bike shop. Uh, is that still a good idea? I think it might still be a good idea, but you know, it's kind of challenging now in that sense, considering the environment that we're in currently.
How to make decisions in this time of uncertainty?
Yeah.
How to prepare for it? Yeah. I think this is another reason why I'm more relaxed now than I would have been. Like if this happened like maybe 2 years ago, I would have lost my mind because I think what helped was this like um Nas, did you read the one Anti-Fragile, the book I
Um,
recommended to you?
No,
Anti-Fragile.
I have not read the book.
from Goodreads.
The highlights.
Highlights there.
Now like
Yeah.
so I've been like Nassim Taleb and then Naval. So I've been sort of I've been talking about these things for the past couple of years. I've been so this is like it seems like it was also the best way to prepare for the worst. Meaning, it's like what are the things you could do that would still work in the worst kinds of situations? And I feel the fundamentals were like this the barbell strategy. So like your bets are some safe bets and some extraordinary risky bets nga you're okay to lose. And then also kanang like where do you put your time? It's really like the things that are not affected by externalities. For instance, what Dabal calls specific knowledge, like what I'm trying to gain now in learning biology very deeply in a very specific thing. So I mean that nothing will uh, take that away, and also it might even become more valuable now, since like virology will be viral genomics will be, I guess, more valued. It might be easier to do a business in that area. So I think the fundamental, I guess my takeaway here is like if just focusing on things that are valuable, whatever the external circumstances are. I mean, it has also the effect, I guess, of clarifying. Another thing, by like all of us are very lucky. We're in very lucky situations. None of us will. What if you divide the world to have those who will suffer and those who will benefit from this, we will most likely be not out of our own what you call this merit. We just happen to be in a place we are so lucky. We won't be suffering from this. I mean, a lot of people will be suffering from this, but we are the lucky ones. We could even benefit from this. So that's why, like, I feel a bit guilty, or like I feel very self-conscious talking about this in public, because it's like it's almost like see what's her name? See Marie Antoinette, and during the French Revolutions, not knowing what happened. But the thing is, like, it's like we have to talk about it as well. But it's but
Are you afraid that it romanticizes the situation?
No, it's like it's like imagine you're eating steak, and then and then outside there are people who are hungry. You could eat steak, but just don't show it to them, man. It's like I mean, the world has always been like that. Now it's just more. It's just been clear.
Pronounced.
No,
Yeah.
I sorry, I agree that we're very lucky. Good, like kanang just the fact that like si Makoy, for example, Roy, you're actually choosing to be in the front line, so to speak, no? And you know, and in a way that's very dangerous in that sense, no? But of course, you want to help people, so I'm all for that. Like, good on you, pero like we're very lucky in a sense that you know we get to stay home, we get to be here, and we can we can actually survive, more than survive, in the foreseeable future. No, I think it's important, and thank you, Khalil, for pointing that out. Also, no, okay, it's important that we always remember that too.
So just to kind of add on that whole thing, that's kind of one of the more light at the cracks of this whole situation. I'm just kind of looking at this as like World War II. Like it was pretty bad then, but when World War II ended, if you look at from the 50s to I want to say 80s, got it? Like people who survived World War II were well off. Like well, the countries that won the war were they were like that was the time a single income household can survive and even afford a home. In a big city in an expensive area. Because not being insensitive about it, so many people will die from this. Like people who are like in New Zealand, like majority of the population, like Japan, is old. Like it's pretty crazy. Like my friend in the UK, young stepdad is over 70 and has a lung condition. They're not taking any chances because they have kids in the house. Now he's just in the room and they're just sliding food by his door and he eats it from there and goes back to his room. Like it's one magnitude sa situation ba. But whoever survives this, will benefit from, unless they're really, they're mazero jud sila. Whoever survives this will kind of reap the benefits of.
No, but also, like I think there's an article earlier today or something that like Spain is considering universal, what do you call that? Universal income? What is it called?
Basic income, yeah.
Universal basic income. And I don't know, like say what you want, you may agree or disagree, but that is definitely a step, considering the pandemic. That is something that is probably going to be good in the long run, especially if we can expect more of these pandemics to happen. So apparently, this is like the third coronavirus. It just so happens that the first two was, in a way, ironically, more dangerous because if you had it prior, like SARS, then you would automatically be socially distant from everybody. Now it's a big sphere because it's unclear who has it. Diba? It's not as dangerous as like SARS or something, but
you
it
don't
spreads.
Get it and you die. Yeah, you can be a carrier.
Yes, exactly. You can be a carrier and give it to a lot of other people before you even realize it. As opposed to SARS, if you're a carrier, everybody knew you're a carrier and you're automatically shut away in a room. No?
Yeah.
So Mona, and then I don't know where I was.
I'd like to add something to what McCoy said about World War II and what happened after World War II and the great success that happened with World War II. That's actually what Mo said. Na what it's gonna be like after this is just a whole pool of opportunities.
Yeah.
And it really depends on who is ready to take on those challenges and take advantage of the opportunities, as opposed to those who just sit around and just surviving. So the potential to thrive after this global pandemic is just massive and could be redirection of business, could be redirection of focus. But you're right, Makar. I agree with that. Na just like for us, kami Chinese, our grandparents came into a situation where there was just teeming with opportunities. They started with nothing, but there were so much opportunities, and we are what we are today because of them. So we could be the next generation of our own grandparents who what they were able to do during the time that they were going through so much difficulty. So I would say, yeah, that's one way to look into it. How are we going to be resilient and opportunistic? I hate to say it, but you're right.
Well, I think
The reality is
I
people are
think we
gonna
should
die.
is I think you can actually just not use opportunistic sounds. You can rephrase it to it's just looking at the brighter side of this very dark time in the world history. Uh, because the truth is, if we were all doom and gloom, then that is not a good way to survive as well, diba?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, but just going back to like post World War II and what what ended that era and what's happening now is kind of the counterbalance of what ended World War II. So basically, World War II happened, and then the then it was good for the people who survived it, and it was one income household, and then if you can afford a house, you can afford to feed your family. There was that traditional the mother stays at home and then the dad works, and for some reason that financially worked. You try doing that in like Cebu now, in an expensive city, that's really really hard. Pero what killed that era, not very many people really kind of pointed it out, but somebody, I forgot who pointed it out, was the birth control pills. Because what happened was before people used birth control pills as like a norm, the setup was the guy and a girl get together, the girl gets pregnant, can't work, so she needs to stay at home, and the guy works, and that's fine. But what happened when women started using birth control, that wasn't the model anymore. They can have sex and they can not get pregnant, and they have the choice now to not have babies if they didn't want to and pursue a career. And what happens to the market if you double the supply of workers? That it's
You
just
really believe
supply
that?
and demand, basically. No, it's true.
Really?
True. Yeah. You just the number of the workforce number. Think about it. If you double it, what happens to it?
So you
So
say
before,
there's
if
more
you-
supply, so the demand goes slow, get paid less.
Yeah. Basically, back then, if the supply was half of what we have now, like mas grabe ka kuha ng market, mas grabe ka saya ng market for somebody to ask for, I need this much to, sustain myself or whatever. But anyway, so with this happening, and a lot of people are dying and will be going, like that kind of opens up the market for other people, sadly.
What a horrible thing to say.
Oh man, my head is not a fun place.
You have to expose me more. I gotta get
You
thinking.
have no idea what keeps me up at night. But yeah.
Other one?
Huh?
Wait, Carlo, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna share the 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 best thing I've read about this whole thing, but is kanang we're doing like so we're talking about the economics of this whole thing, right? The in terms of businesses, right? But the best thing I read about it is that we are sacrificing, in a way, the economy to keep a percentage of people alive. No, so we're doing this big. It's kind of heartwarming, but if you think about it in that way, no, kanang we are the we are sacrificing the economy to keep a percentage of people alive. And then I thought that it was a good way to see the sacrifice, because we think very much in terms of like what's right in front of us, in terms of like how are we going to keep going, how are we going to earn money, How long can we hold on to this thing? But also, there are real people who are really suffering from this. And then the whole world has shown that these people are worth it just by being, this quarantine is not easy. I miss going out and riding my bicycle up mountains, you know. But
I think if there's something I'd like to, you're talking about a certain sense of solidarity that is brought about by the situation, right?
yeah,
I would recommend a Netflix show for you to watch because it has a parallel to what you're talking about. If you guys haven't watched it, you have to watch The Platform.
oh, I've been wanting to watch that. Is it?
You have to
good?
watch it.
Movie, right? It's a movie, right? It's not a series.
Movies. It's a Spanish movie. The Platform.
Okay.
It's highly relevant to what we're going through, but it's encompassed in a different situation and circumstance. But the context is there: difficulty, hierarchy of social classes, and resources passed on from different levels. So you'll see clearly what it's all about, and it's really mind blowing because it raises a lot of questions, and it's a good point of reflection for me.
Question.
It was a very good. Yeah.
Can I watch it with my kids around?
No.
Okay, I'll find time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just touching base on what you said about the whole situation, kind of bringing the world together, and it's kind of heartwarming. Yeah, I firmly believe that you can only measure the value of a person by how they treat those who can't do anything for them, because otherwise it's a trade-off, right? Like if you're doing a favor for someone, you're expecting, it's a business in that sense. But if you're actually doing something for someone, not expecting anything in return, or even losing some of what you have, I think that's a good thing.
I may have derailed the conversation with coronavirus.
It got interesting.
But I suspect our challenges are very similar in that sense. Who wants to go next for their challenge? Do you have something more specific, or?
I for my challenges, it's really for me it's a 6-month thing. I need to come up with a business continuity plan for the next 6 months, and that's really just for the hotel. I just want to make sure that I can still profit within the next 6 months, not even break even. I need to profit because I need to preserve the company, because the hotel industry, the hospitality industry in general, F&B, accommodations, it's going to be suffering for another 1 or 2 years. That's the projections right now. That's the discussion among industry shareholders. We're looking at a bad tourism or a bad projection for the next 1-2 years. So I need to have a business continuity plan that is solid, and I should be I'm trying to reflect, and I should be open to the possibility of declaring bankruptcy. I don't know. It's just vague right now. It's just really vague right now. Real estate is really bad. Rentals are really bad right now. Everyone is sort of losing business. So I don't know if accommodation business is still something that I want to look into. I don't know yet. So it's vague. It's like I'm still I'm back to where I started last year with my issues. I'm back to uncertainty. So maybe it's the universe telling me that I haven't been able to mature enough. I haven't become mature enough to deal with uncertainty in a professional way. So maybe it's the universe telling me again, John, get out of your comfortable seat and start facing this maturity thing.
John, don't worry. By the universe did not make the coronavirus because you were uncertain.
No. I'm not saying that it was. I'm just saying that sometimes I like to take situations as a way of the world talking to me. because in a way everything's connected. So I believe that for me, this is my personal way of connecting things. But so that's for the business side. The second thing is I believe I envy Kahlil and his ability to be stoic about the whole thing, and I think that's my challenge personally. Um, I've always been a person who talks about the currency of time and how you use your time, and the time flowing by so you lose it. But so my challenge is how to build that discipline and that logical thought process to really make good use of my time. Because honestly, I don't think I have been very productive. So I've been wasting time. So my challenge is I've been wasting time. And I want to build that discipline to make good use of this quarantine period so that I don't regret the time that has gone by.
Do you have a
'Cause-
schedule, man?
Sorry?
Do you have a schedule?
Yeah, and I don't follow it. That's my big issue. I mean, I had to admit, I mean, I don't wanna romanticize what I'm going through now, but before the coronavirus issue, we had a big loss in the family, and that kind of left me in a very bad state of limbo. Like I wasn't no gana to do anything. I lost my sense of creativity. I stopped creating things, and just when I was almost done with that, and suddenly, boom, the pandemic happened. So. Uh, I think I'm trying to shake off my head from those things. And and the 49 days recently passed. Chinese, 49 days means it's ready for me to start going back to regular way of things. And maybe I got derailed from that morning period and gotten suddenly into this new state of mind with this pandemic. So I hope that I can get out of that limbo. I hope that I can go back to my state of being productive and being disciplined with my time. So that's my challenge.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll send those links because like there. I mean, I was actually skipped some of those episodes, but it seems they're quite appropriate for this period. It's like really like these are like experts in terms of like managing emotions. You know that were interviewed by Peter Attia and Tim Ferriss. That might have some things there. Another thing which sort of reminded me like is the stoic practice of memento mori, to remember your death. I think it's a good. I don't know if
Good reminder.
Yeah, it's like it would have been helpful in the past months to prepare for this, but maybe now it's a good time to start doing that as well. That
Yeah,
death is I mean, it's always around us, but we just don't see it now. It's just more obvious, but it's always been there.
You know, I have a different perspective in a way from this guy. Like, I don't know about you, John, but like, you know, I feel like maybe the past how many years you've been working pretty hard, probably, right? Like going at it. So like, and I feel the same also for me. And honestly, I've just used this as an opportunity to just like honestly just relax. Like I wasn't kidding. Like as I watched more movies this quarantine period compared to the whole 2019. And you know what? I really enjoy watching these movies. And it's kanang I find nga murag like it's honestly given me an excuse to be to just take my time and then just that's because that's what in a way this is what we've all been given, right? Like some semblance of time. I'm also very aware that there's like as I mentioned as I opened this discussion nga murag, there's a lot of things that I would like to that I am thinking about, no? But also at the same time, we have been given this time to just there goes Kahlil. We've been given this time to just in a way relax, and I honestly have been taking advantage of that, man. You know, just homeschooling the kids, you know, uh, just spending time with them, and eventually, after a few months, things are probably going to normalize and we're going to get back to the grind. So it'll still be there.
Are any of you afraid? I mean, of what's to come the next few months? I think that's been keeping me up at night. I've been having really bad insomnia lately, and it's like crazy insomnia. I would normally sleep at 10 or 10 or 11 p.m. Now I sleep at 4 a.m. So, are any of you guys afraid of the next few months?
Yeah. But I'm in a multiple position, Mago John. Like a part of me feels that I'm a victim of this. But there's a part of me na, okay, in a business context ba, for Pont, for the construction part, I feel like I'm a victim because end of last year, then early this year, I feel like we're really soaring. Ano ba? Pasa kami, go, and then right now, suddenly it's like we're forced to stop. No, like stop. But capricho, feeling na ko I'm being opportunistic, or maybe I'm being my mindset is being selfish ba, na it's a time for me to catch up. It's like everybody's going really fast, then ako dre, I'm behind, and then everybody's asked to stop. So Morocco, it's a time for me to clear my backlogs or to catch up ba. You know what I mean? So
I like that mindset.
Oh, so I'm in different position when you guys are discussing about the kanagali on say effect sa kaniba pandemic ba. Morocco makarelate ko whatever Carlos perspective, Mark, Kahlil, ana ba. So a part of me is being so excited. Nasa part na ko na very reactive. But I'll discuss that later during the challenges. But yeah, I'm of course kanang I fear jud na part because it's question mark ba what will happen after next month or inana ba.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ikaw, Koy.
You go, Carl. No, you go.
No, I was gonna say I'm not. I always think about like what's the worst that can happen, and I mean, it's pretty bad, but I don't know. The worst that can happen is people from my family will be, infected, and something will happen to them. I think I actually do have a relative who got the virus. Fortunately, he was already let out of the hospital, so I think he's okay in Manila. Well, I don't understand why there's like some social stigma also. It's like it can happen to anybody.
It's because of social media. It's fucking social media. People making it such a big deal.
I've been staying away from social media.
I don't know. I'm afraid. My parents are seniors. It's scary. I mean, it brings up so much anxiety, honestly. The only thing that's keeping me sane right now are my birds, and I'm having more time with my birds.
Have your parents been staying in?
My mom, yes. My dad, sometimes he has to go out. But, I just keep hoping that nothing happens while he goes out. And worst part is, when he goes out, he goes to the hospital.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been, for my house here, like, I'm actually the one who goes out. Occasionally, like, the driver for groceries. But, like, for little things, I'm the one who goes out for, like, the pharmacy, buy stuff. I mean, I don't mind because I get the bike.
Do you bring your EQ pass?
Yeah. We just get it from the guardhouse.
Oh, okay. Oh, Kahlil's back.
Here. Yeah, it's been like I've been like I actually get to bike pretty much all over Cebu, no? Except I can't cross the borders. They really stopped me in the borders. And then just make sure to stay away from people.
Yeah. Do you wear masks? You have to wear masks, by the way.
Oh yeah, I wear a mask.
There's a new executive order as well that if you don't wear masks, you will have to pay 8,000 pesos in fine, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I find that there are executive orders and there are what's actually happening in the ground. So I asked the guy who asked me if I had a pass, and then he said, like the pass, not a mask, like the pass I asked him, so boss, what happens if I didn't have a pass? He just said, oh, we'll just ask you to turn around and go back home. So
they're too nice.
I mean, you know, in a way, that's one advantage of the Filipinos. We're very flexible. No? Who wants to go next in terms of challenges?
Jonas?
Oh,
Who? Sorry.
ako na lang. I'll go next.
Go, do it.
Okay. Vikram and for Pont, it's not affected by COVID. So my challenges is, as I mentioned, in my wins, I've systematized and digitized my system. So, but that system is limited as a functional part of architecture, functional part of admin, and functional part of design. My challenge, really, I think it's a perpetual challenge. I think sa galit na maybe it's not achievable how to systematize design, no? So I don't know, Murag. My other friend also, si Bak Lil ba? You met Bak. So I think Carlo knows Bak said. He said,
his brother, much more.
Design can be ano daw, influence ba? Like taste, like fashion. So he considered himself as a kuan man jud, a student of architect medalya. Dili man daw siya designer before, but because of medalya na designer siya something. But to me, it's like a innate na talent. It's a thing. You have your own style. You have your own, no, your fashion, everything. So anyway, that's my challenge, Gapon, because if we're going to continue working from home, no, then I don't have that interaction with my staff. Ba. I need to come up with a system. I don't know how to standardize na our design output will be more or less the same, the language. So that's the Pont challenge. For Capriccio, it's really a question mark. I don't know. That's a very big question mark for me. So again, katong we mentioned earlier that I'm in a multiple position. So for Capriccio, it's like a good thing for me because it's like we're all the businessmen or all the restaurants right now are forced to stop operation, and then we're forced to think what's the next direction. So it's like ako awahi mo kay good, I'm way behind in doing sa akong F&B business, but everybody's forced to stop. So I've noticed like JP Chongbian, there's this person said who opened the kanang Facebook page, Banilad Marketplace. It's like everybody's there, no? Like small business, big business, but hey, level mo tanan. Yeah. So right now it's like an opportunity for me to be on the same level nila ba. So that's for Capriccio. Personal challenge. This is very lame, but it's a serious, honest challenge. I just move out, and then give me a suggestion. I have a problem with the parking fee here sa IT Park. Now, okay, quarantine, so my car's parked there for how many days na? I don't know kung pila akong fee.
So use your bike.
No, but like, if you're having a problem with your car, why don't you park it lang sa center streets?
And then I have to walk.
No. But wait, why don't you just park your car in your house up in that mountain? And yeah, just use your bike, and then when you need the car, you just bike to your house.
Good idea. Bitaw. That's really a good idea. Bitaw.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm not going around using the car. I'm going around using a scooter.
I'm thinking after, let's say if we're going back to normal operations, then I'm staying here. I don't want a bike going up there early morning. Singot na kayo sa office.
Scooter.
Or the scooter.
You could always take a bath there.
Scooter, yes.
E-scooter bike. I like, it's my go-to transportation everywhere. The only time I use a car is from Busay to Cebu City. That's it.
Okay. All right. Solved.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next.
For the first one, As, Have you, Juan? I'm gonna recommend a book again.
Okay.
Remote by what's his name? The guy's
Oh yeah.
but that will see Jason Fried
Wait. Remote.
by Jason Fried, Fried.
I think they're the company of 36 signals. What's it
37.
called? 37 signals.
Basecamp. Yeah, the ones who made Basecamp.
Sorry, what's that again? Jason
Fried.
Fried. Okay.
Is it Fried? I'm not sure.
By the way,
It's like fried, actually.
Fried.
Podcast suggestion for Carlo. Maybe you could come up with a podcast that talks about 5 books to read during this quarantine season.
Yeah, but I don't read books.
Or audiobooks.
Yeah, ang gist lang sa books ba? That's how you find out about books.
Yeah, the books that I read by are because of audiobooks. And that was when I used to drive.
It's the same as reading.
Yeah, but now that I don't drive, I don't get to read books.
Headphones.
I know, but like I just don't have. There's no like time in my like before, but it was convenient. Like okay, I'm driving home, then that's when I would do it. Now there's no real, you know. Jonas, I sold my car, by.
Oh what? Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
You sold your car?
yeah. It's my pickup. So we still have a car. That's the one that my wife uses. Yeah, whenever the kids are there, it's like it's a van. And but if my wife is out and then me, it's just me. I bike her everywhere. For
Yeah, it makes sense. I
I don't have
mean,
a
for
scooter,
most
but,
part of the year, you don't really use the car anyway.
Yeah, no, I had a car and it was just parked most of the time. So I ended up just selling it.
Good call. Good call.
Hmm.
Wait, can I ask? Since you're talking about pickup and we're planning to buy, how much did you sell it for?
It was a Hilux. I forgot 400, almost 400, 380, something like
What-
that. I'm not sure, and I forgot.
What year model was that?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay,
I can check. If I dig my messages.
Right.
So Jonas, are you done?
Carry on.
I'm done. Yep.
No, it's super quick for mine. It's like with this Zettelkasten thing. It's so it's like I want to do it more, but I don't have the time. So it's just like I don't know, man. Just looking for time to do it. This
What cast? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Zettelkasten, the thing that we've been talking about for the past 2 months, note taking, this kind of thing. Yep. So it's just that. It's like I was like I'm happy that in a weird way that I'm forced to do this. But it also has I guess showed me or showed a lot of people that this is possible to do this. Another thing perhaps is like what you mentioned, Carlo. That's another thing I'm thinking about. How do I think?
How do I
approach this? Both the threats and the opportunities. How do I approach this? The threats and the opportunities. How do I think about this? So my current thinking now is that I don't make any moves until things are clear. I don't make major decisions. I mean, I will continue doing what I have done, my previous plans, which are like anti-fragile, robust, since they're fundamental, and then be in the lookout for opportunities that appear, and then just make smart bets. But let's do that when things are more clear. So I'm still thinking about this. That's why I want to talk to more mature minds, people with a clear view of the world, and just have a clear mental model and mental models and how to take advantage of the next few months. And then, so those are my 2 main things right now. Working on my Zettelkasten, and then being prepared uh, for opportunities, and also, of course, not not being ruined by this. So, I mean, like, am I
You know,
blind to certain things? Yeah, that was basically the question. Yeah.
you know what I've been doing, kada, because like as you mentioned, we can't really do anything until things become concrete, and it seems like nothing is concrete at this moment, right?
Yep.
So what I've been doing is just like reading reading up on the possible effects to culture, to life in general from the coronavirus. Kanang, aside from the usual, aside from the facts that we already know that a lot of people are going to get infected, that sort of thing, but like how life is going to be after. So there's like, I'll share this article on our Facebook group. I mean, here it is. It's on the Facebook group. It's called "Coronavirus Will Change the World Permanently. Here's How." And I mean, this is obviously not going to be true, but this is like a way to like see different perspectives of how people are uh, approaching this. So like one uh, these are all predictions that, you know, they're not necessarily true. So like one prediction is less individualism, you know. So and then there's like a little article about it. Another one is religious worship will look different, no? Like this is something that I will kind of disagree on. Because here it says na murag, religious worship might take a hit. Like people will be less religious, but I don't know. Based from what we're doing here at home, every night we have a Zoom meeting where we pray the rosary. And this
Oh,
is the
you
most,
do?
yeah, bye. This is the most praying I've ever done in my life.
Well,
So,
actually, kami sa family, we're praying the rosary daily too.
Mogani, and then, you know, so I don't, I think if anything, it might even make uh, religious worship more, what's this? It's just that, you know, you have to do it in different ways instead of congregating, you know. Yeah. So like that's what I've been doing, just like reading these articles. And this one from Politico.com is quite long. So there's like a lot of predictions that I think, oh, this might be a possibility, or this might, I totally disagree with this one, and so just something to broaden horizons. So
That's a
links and
business idea. Online churches and online, you know, online religious, like facilitating that, you know,
oh, they're already
religious
doing that,
podcast.
right? You can do
Are they?
mass on. I mean, all every Sunday we have mass. It's on Facebook Live.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, we do
Yeah,
that too.
like thousands of people watching a ceremony.
And it's the same thing with the churches. People arrive late for online masses. I mean, do you look
Oh,
at the view
yeah,
count?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
4,000 views, viewing during the first part of the mass. Pag abot sa homily, it's suddenly 8,000. It's like, what's up with that? How can you be late for online mass?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so my turn for challenges.
Sure.
Just before I go with my challenges, just going back to John's like question while Kahlil was away, he asked if we're scared of this whole thing, you know, by things that like, and you know, aside from the normal things that keep me up at night, yeah, Najid, I'm in two minds with this whole thing. One is I want to say murag rational earthbound me na murag, you know, money, what's gonna happen, my career, what's gonna happen, you know, my health, what's gonna happen. You know, there's that very real kanang self-preservation, you know, that ego thing of mine that like, no, I'm meant to survive, you know, like, yeah, the dinosaurs were extinct with one meteorite, but not me. Like, you know, I'm meant to survive my lifetime, kind of thing. So that's one side of me, and I'm realistic fears about the whole situation and things in general, even when it comes to like finances. And there's also a part of me that the other side of me is like, you know, when it's your time, and I do this thing na Murag, whenever I'm in an airplane, yeah, you know, mag turbulence galit. I always just go like, oh, I had a good run, had a good time. That's it. That's how it ends. And since we're suggesting books, I think that side of me who thinks, you know, who's not scared of the rational fears and I mean practical fears in life. A book that kind of is good for that mindset is the book called The Stranger by Albert Camus.
Sorry?
The Stranger.
By Albert Camus.
Albert Camus. Camus. He's a existentialist writer. But yeah, it's a short book set, but it's good. It's just good to kind of every once in a while kind of like step back and kind of look at things objectively and kind of look at life, you know, as a whole and not just what you're kind of experiencing at the moment, sort of thing. Kind of look at the big picture of this whole whatever we're part of. Yeah, it's good for that. Yeah, challenges. Yeah, well, challenges. You know, I had this whole big year planned of, you know, I like, you know, I came from I came from a pretty cushy job which I quit because I didn't think it was the right move for me. You know, I gave up a lot by quitting that job and pursuing this new career. But you know, like I was really optimistic about the next couple of years. It was gonna work out, and you know, I had things planned. But then the pandemic thing just kind of like put a stop on that thing. It kind of makes me like, you know, karon na opportunity na, you know, the nursing council here, it has up saying that, you know, we need nurses to help out with the healthcare system. Okay, before I left, the reason why I left nursing in the first place when I was here, it was overworked and underpaid, very similar to the Philippines. Yeah, when I realized that, yeah, well, I can find like a better livelihood elsewhere. So that's why I quit. And then kind of thinking about it now, na, you know, back then lisod na gali ang healthcare system unsa nakakaroon na, you know, like cases of like, you know, corona is just growing on a daily basis. So just kind of, yeah, a challenge maybe is kind of having that mindset Kahlil was mentioning, that instead of like kind of moping around and, you know, kind of internalizing the negative aspects of this, is kind of looking at how do I put my mind into shift it into thinking, you know, what are the opportunities and okay, this happened, now what can I do? It's really hard steering the ship in that direction.
I agree.
Well, hopefully once you get started doing the nursing thing, I don't know if you found this, where like sometimes helping other people in a way makes those decisions easier. Like, you know, in terms of like steering the ship, in terms of finding purpose.
Yeah. I think not. I don't know if it applies to everyone, but I think the whole like the concept of like purpose is pretty important, or like pretty heavy. You know, just in terms of what we do here, when, you know, as while we're here, while we're alive, and what are we doing, what we do for, you know, like what's the purpose of, what's the end goal of this, of what we're doing now, sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons why I left that cushy corporate job. Okay, I kind of hit a wall, Namarag. Oh yeah, like you're gonna be paid this much, and this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. there was that hint from my employer. Namarag, yep, this is it. And for me, wala, that, you know, that wasn't my purpose. You know, no matter how shiny the paycheck that they were dangling. Yeah. So I'm just kind of hoping to find like, yeah.
But I
Find,
think
find ways.
at this point, a good way to look at things would be, or at least this opportunity to be in the front lines. I think the only way to look at this is being mission driven, because I mean it's that's reality right now. I mean, it's like you're risking your life to help people there. So, and you know, it's like if you're, I think if you're looking at it as from a profitably point of view, it's always gonna not make sense, because you know you could die or something that could be infected. But but in terms of meaning, I mean, this is the best thing that could happen. I think, like, you know, it's like you're in a pivotal moment in the history of the world, and you're in the front lines. You could save so many lives. So it's I think, you know, if I were in those shoes, that's what I would tell myself every day, because that's the reality. You know, that's like and to overcome the physiological fear, because like I think and this is what I've learned in the past 2 years of like battling with my own mind because of the fear of failing in business. It's physiological. That like it's your body fearing for its life. It doesn't make sense. You know, it's like why would it's like nothing will happen. You know, the worst thing that could happen is like, you know, it's just some years of inconvenience. But at least what helped me was really the lifting, you know, physically changing my body. Like when you're doing something physical, and at the moment you sort of forget about, you know, this imaginary life in that situation. So I think when you're in the front lines, that might help you. I don't know, man. I think if you're in you have a great opportunity by it's to be in this be part of this history.
Yeah, I would agree on the part of the history part. Like one day, if you have kids, you're gonna be able to tell them that, hey, once upon a time, I was part of the frontliners of the grand pandemic. No, but also a little word of caution when you start to go on the front lines, and this is something that came from my dad, because I noticed that hospitals only apply the whole red zone standard if you are dealing with COVID-19 patients. Now, in the event that you are dealing with patients that are not COVID-19 classified, I would still highly recommend that you treat them as COVID-19 positive, because the infections that happened here in Cebu City with the doctors occurred because doctors dealt with people who lied about their symptoms and they got infected. And same in Manila. So as much as possible, as a frontliner, I would highly advise that you treat every single patient and your colleagues as COVID-19 positive.
Yeah, the one more anecdote that really resonated with me with regards to this whole thing was from who's the singer of David Lee Roth, the singer. So his dad was an ophthalmologist, and back in the 1980s, when like the dawn of HIV/AIDS epidemics the states. You know, like there was back then, there was no, like, they didn't really understand HIV or AIDS yet. And, you know, even healthcare workers were scared to look after patients. Okay, they were scared, you know, that was the time when all the gays were kind of pushed to San Francisco, the States. Okay, grabe ang discrimination towards that community ba. And then David Lee Roth's dad carried on with his profession, operating, not knowing na kapag sila kibaw na it's HIV, like droplets, or unsa ba mode of transmission na niya. But his dad said na more, you know, like, this is what I chose to do in life. Like I'm a doctor. Like I'm not gonna let the fear of, you know, I'm not gonna the fear of me contracting HIV stop me from helping these people. Yeah. And, you know, like, lo and behold, it was, you know, you can only get it through like blood transfusion, or, you know, basically blood, bodily fluids. But at that time, wala sila kay bao on say transmission ato. His dad still, you know, treated people yeah, with HIV. And I think because I spoke to my cousin about the whole COVID thing, and I asked, do we really have a good grasp of, do we know what this is? And she said no. Like basically, ilarang ikuan karon na, yeah, because it's a family of the flu or influenza. Most likely this is the whole mechanism of this virus. But in all honesty, like, we get people who are dying who are not old, who don't have pre-existing conditions. So I don't think we have a proper grasp budget of this whole virus.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people like in the US, diba? Nga murag basically our age.
Yeah.
Who's, yeah, dying from it. Anyway, we don't want to end in a downer. Who hasn't shared a challenge? Are we?
Now we could go to the one.
Goals.
Goal service system upgrade.
Goals. So, I'll go first. So, probably like a lot of you, I have a lot more time now. So I figured I started learning like basic video editing just to keep myself at least I'm doing something, and then also trying to stay fit, just doing some exercises. It's kind of challenging to do it in the house because it's difficult finding motivation to do it. Like I tried like getting on a trainer, like an indoor bicycle. Oh, it's like all the exercise without any of the fun.
That's true. That is so true.
Yeah, it's horrible. So just doing some exercises, trying to learn a new skill, video editing, and just trying to see and get a glimpse of what this world will be like during the coronavirus and possibly after. Hopefully, I can still put up that bike shop. We'll see how it goes.
I have a question for you guys who have a business or are business minded. Do you think around at this point you can have a business plan? Or obviously, like Jonas, you're running a business. Like obviously, you kind of have to. But do you think at this point, but with all this uncertainty, can you formulate one, or is it a good idea to do one?
One of my goals for Quant, not to come up with a thing that's COVID proof or like pandemic proof. No, so for Quant, for design side, I'm planning to master or learn a skill na it's COVID pandemic proof, like feng shui. No, feng shui is like something na timeless. No, everybody believes in it. Not everybody, but majority believe in it. So something
it's so annoying, but it's true.
And diba? So it's no, bisag kung sa mo happen, I think murag a lot of Chinese businessmen still believe.
My mom is devoutly Catholic
before,
and she did
after pandemic, mo exist na siya. And then another thing for Pont kay to learn a new management skill siguro na I can do architecture remotely, because right now it's like a naning open na window ba na I can actually double the size of my staff without doubling the size of my office space. If I can master this thing ba, I can hire people from Leyte, from Manila, from anywhere, then I can start hiring people who are disabled, let's say kanang pungkol or mute, but can do AutoCAD, can do drafting. So kanang ako pang githink na how I can, again, it's really about the system, but there's a opportunity na ba in my mind na I can double up my practice without doubling up my space, something. So daghan kag matik, it's just the restaurant side na zero pa. It's still my challenge. Goal.
Actually, boy, I feel like there's if you just think about it, I mean, I'm not doing this, but like thinking about it logically, but okay, what's going to
Go back to
suffer,
the message.
what
Sorry.
isn't. No,
No.
like I think Jeremy shared in another Facebook group that we have. He shared like a Yelp link showing like what businesses are doing well and what aren't. So you can kind of get like a snapshot of possibly this might do well, possibly this might not. So like definitely if you're in the food business, you are definitely thinking about deliveries, online orders, that sort of thing, diba? Um, so I mean you could, but you probably can't. I mean you could definitely think of a business plan. Executing might be a whole
Oh,
different thing.
welcome,
Oh,
welcome, Mo.
yawa.
Hello.
Good
Go,
morning.
go. We're almost done.
Yeah, Mo.
Lousy.
No, we can talk about the good
wait.
stuff, man. After this.
Wait, Mo, just to let you know, we are recording this mastermind, huh? FYI. You know,
Okay, so no.
in case your racism comes out, your
Okay, in case I'm indecent.
Yeah. Are we gonna go back to wins, challenges, and
are we, are we gonna do that?
Nah.
Then I mean, just for
Let's
Mo,
go.
like what
Let's go to the
his
good
Yeah,
stuff
and
now.
then Mo can just watch this later to see our ones.
Yeah, where are we?
Now we're in
We're
the,
in the
the system
goals.
upgrades, goals, and system upgrades. Well, what I think what would be interesting, and we started with this actually. It's like how do we think about the next few months? I think we already started that conversation.
Yeah. On the chat.
Offline. Yes. So let's just complete this. Go on. Get on the remaining system upgrades. For me, it's still Zettelkasten and talking to CEOs. That's basically my for the month. That's what we're gonna focus on. Yeah. McCoy and John.
Yeah. For my system upgrade, this is kind of not for the hotel anymore. I'm looking more into video editing. Well, same with Carlo. But by the way, Carlo, I would highly recommend learning DaVinci Resolve. I've been doing a lot of research on video editing software, and there's nothing as how would I put it? There's nothing as holistic and complete as the DaVinci Resolve, and it's for free. And I'm going back into video editing. Sorry, video blogging. I uploaded recently sa Birds of Cebu. I've one of the things that I'm trying to work on is the discipline of creating content, because more than ever right now, the internet traffic volume has greatly increased. We've never seen a traffic volume this much in the Philippines compared to any time in the year. So I'm trying to take advantage of that.
That's right, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to take advantage of that. I want to see if I can really make the most out of this influx of online traffic. So my goal is to develop a system that makes content creation easier and faster, so that I can video blog without as much as an effort as I did before. I felt like I spent too much time just trying to create the video. Right now, I'm building templates, I'm building scripts, and I hope that will help me make my video blogging process easier. So that's my first system upgrade. My second system upgrade is, well, I hope to really get involved with avian training, because that's something that I believe is doable and teachable online. If I'm looking at a possibility in the future that people want to get involved with hobbies that fulfills them, I want to translate that into something scalable. So I have so much time with my birds. Literally, the first thing I do in the morning is play with my bird. And the last thing I do, you guys have to like take this seriously.
But that's not aged very well.
I usually do that before I go to sleep.
I have first thing I do in the day is play with my alien companion, and last thing of the day is also put them to sleep. So I think that I hope with the time that I have with them, it will give me more insight into how to deal with future clients and their own alien companions. So that's my system upgrade: the birds and the video blogging.
McCoy?
I don't really know, like what, I guess. Well, I'm still studying. I'm still like kind of in class, learning. Yeah, that's what I kind of wanna bring up. Said, I was it back in one of the meetings back then we talked about the grind, or was it kita na ba to, Carl? Basically the grind is like the non-sexy aspect of like success. Nobody's gonna take a photo and put you in the front cover when you're waking up, at 5 a.m. training for your triathlon or whatever.
They did, Under Armour ran an ad on that. It's what you do in the dark that brings you in the light. It was with Michael Phelps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly their ad. It's like
Yeah.
the shit you don't see that,
Yeah. Yeah, the grind, like for me, like now, like the grind is very, because of the times, very like uncertain, but and there's this I guess apathy, namarag, and pessimism, namarag. What am I doing this for? Like, am I just gonna fall back into like not this like career path? Because yeah, I don't know if that's an upgrade.
It's an extension of your challenges, Koy.
Yeah. I think this is also, that also sort of highlights the sort of the theme here. And Mo, I think you could have inputs here because although I've been practicing like this Stoic and Christian ascetic practices, I think Mo, because you teach this, no, with your practice, you might have some inputs on, because like what you missed, and if you look at the video here, a lot of the conversation was about how do you manage all this anxiety, uncertainty.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
in business, uncertainty. Personally, like you feel this anxiety, and you couldn't get things done because of that. So maybe you have some something in your arsenal for that.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's gonna sound very philosophical, but the Indian and the Buddhist traditions, basically, they make you understand that you don't really have any control, no? Like, let's say you want to pass a test and then you study for the test, but you still need, if the questions that you studied for are not the ones that come out in the test, there's nothing you can do. If you didn't get enough sleep and so it's not coming up. I mean, there are so many other factors that are out of your control. So first, they kind of drill that in, no? That you have to realize that there are many, many other things that kind of have to happen. And the only thing that you can do is control your attitude and like play your part, which is doing your best. But if it doesn't turn out well, then you shouldn't really worry about it. Also, because the true evolution of a person is the change that happens when you're running after something. It's not getting that something. So like, if I want to become, like, going back to the test, like studying for the test is supposed to make me smarter. Whether I pass the test or not, I've become smarter. You understand? So
yeah,
that's how they kind of, that's how like philosophy kind of looks at it. But
it's
yeah,
it's the journey, not the destination kind of thing.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Although I think that saying is so overused and so badly explained that people don't really get it. It's the transformation. Eventually, we're all gonna bloody die, right? So, and whatever you get, you will lose. anything, like any physical possessions, relationships, even relationships. Your wife is gonna die, you're gonna die. So if these things are gonna disappear anyway, what's the point? And so what the philosophy kind of teaches us is that it's the evolution that is important, and the evolution happens while you're trying to get that thing. It doesn't happen when you get it. It's like a video game, bye. Do you play it to get a high score, or do you play it to have fun, right?
Always the high score, Mo.
All right, there we go. There we go.
No, my video games is all about moments. It's moments in the game. It's not the ending. It's the moments.
Yeah. So I mean, who gives a? I mean, who cares about the score, right? It's about the.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how Buddhism and like the Indian philosophy. That's one of their core messages. But since I've been reading like stuff by Nassim Taleb, and he's very much into Roman Stoicism, and it's very similar. So yeah, I recommend the book. It's changing my life.
Yeah, I've been recommending it to. I recommended it to Jonas. Jonas, maybe this would convince you to read it. Anti-Fragile.
Okay.
No, this is
So
a great time.
Brought that.
No, and I'll tell you. Look, I'll tell you. I picked it up right before this whole thing exploded, and our business strategy has completely changed because of my understanding of what he's written. And when I discussed it with other people, and other people who have kind of they've survived these kinds of crashes and crises before, they all say the same thing. They go, yeah, that is actually what, like, we're so focused on forecasting what's going to happen, no? And then we try to make the move according to our forecast. And I think like the thing is just to like, no, think of like, what's the worst case scenario? Make sure that you can handle that, and then kind of see how everything else happens.
Yeah, just don't die. That's basically it.
Yeah, don't die.
Worst, yeah.
When you're saying that, think about the worst case scenario. Isn't that forecasting the worst case scenario?
Yeah, but you see, because you then, as long as you prepare for it, and then you set it aside, you forget about it. In case this happens, we're gonna do this. Since that's already covered, psychologically, it allows you first to explore different options because you know that you're already covered, and it doesn't tie you down to a forecast for the future because well, things are gonna happen. I know I'm not gonna die. So now I'm more open to new whatever comes, and I can adjust to whatever comes.
Yeah, another thing I learned from Nassim Taleb is this probabilistic decision making, meaning all our decisions is when you choose one path, the end point is not certain, it's just a probability. So rather than thinking when I bet on this, I will win or lose, it's like, what are the probabilities of different bets, and how do I mitigate the dangers, but also adapt when the probabilities change. Like for instance, I think right now we could get negative knowledge if we read too much on what would happen because no one knows. It's comforting to think that we could know what will happen, but we have really no idea. So I think it might even be counterproductive to think we could actually bet on what will happen in the future. What Anti-Fragile, what I learned from it is like just to have the fundamentals solid, so that when opportunities arise that we could not predict, then we could take advantage of it. And if there's some threat in the future, the fundamentals could also protect us from ruin. So that's my plan now. Like I'm gonna talk to more people about it in the next few weeks. But that's basically my game plan, just to not to listen too much to what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like, Charlie Munger and Buffett always talk about inversion. It's exactly that. It's like, instead of thinking how we're going to get to the goal, let's think about how we can fail, so that as long as we don't fail, eventually you're going to get to the goal. Diba? If we're playing basketball and the other guy can't score, it's either a tie or I win. I don't know how I'm going to win, but I'm just going to make sure he can't score. It's kind of that kind of thinking.
And so in concrete terms, I think, this is preserving cash and taking care of people. That's what I'm focusing on right now. It's like, it's like after this, it will be a new game. So how do I take advantage of that? It's like having resources and having a good team. I don't think whatever, like there's no scenario which that will be false. No.
So I think that's a I was gonna say that's a good way to. Unless you guys want to add something.
Yeah, Mo. We've already.
Yep.
We're good. Anyway, thanks, guys. This has been really helpful.
Yes. Mo, you're super late, buddy.
Yeah, I know. No, I forgot. I was actually reading, and then for some reason I checked.
Yeah.
My phone notifications are always off and my phone's on silent, and then I just checked Messenger and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot.
Yeah, you gotta stop reading, bye.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. But FYI, does anybody want me to delete anything of the recording?
The birdie part. Or
The birdie part.
Put a message. Send me a message on
really good
Facebook.
joke in there that just flew by everybody's head, so that was disappointing.
like,
I'll see if I can catch it on the. Yeah, I'll post it.
Whatever you edit, and then look at it. And
I'll probably post whatever. I'll see. This is the first time I'm doing this. I don't even know what format it's going to be in. So if I have the format, I'll just post it right away to the group. If it's something I can share right away on Facebook Messenger, I'll share it right away. If it's not, give me some time to put it together.
Sorry, there's one thing, but this is not COVID related, but maybe you guys have some suggestion, maybe a book or something, an opinion. Last year, the mastermind, right? My personal goal was mainly focusing on establishing a routine, a habit, and Kahlil also mentioned and suggested it to John earlier, come up with a habit, blah, blah, blah. But it feels like, to me, right, it doesn't work. Amot, ako yung gitry. I have a routine, but it seems like I have a season in a year ba? No, I have different seasons. So right now, I'm trying to identify which season I'm in right now. So my routine will change also, but the hard part is how to recognize what season are you in. Kaya there are times in a year na there's a season in a year na I'm very athletic, and then there's this next season na said na I'm very lazy in doing physical activities, but I'm very creative. So I just wanna stay inside my room, do artworks, and then next season na said kay maybe I said biceps like that. I'm outgoing. So I don't know if you have that season said sa inyo. I don't know. Kahlil seems to be very consistent. John, Carlos consistent sa cycling and all. I don't know if you have that season sa inyong year, and how do you make use of it ba?
Yeah, I have it. I mean, I think everybody has it on a daily basis, no? But so what I found helped is, instead of having a very strict schedule, like I have stuff that I have to do, during the day. And then, like, according to my mood, I'll do one of them or two of them, or I mean, I'll try to do all of them, but I don't
Excuse me.
my mood. And now I feel like reading. Okay, so I'll do that.
Your signals.
Instead of saying, you know, at 8 o'clock I'll do that, I just have a list and then I'll pull from it according to what I feel doing. And that seems to, before when I had like a very strict schedule, there was stuff I couldn't.
Go. Mo, your signal is on and off. Go.
Yeah. I think it's a reception there.
Yeah, but I think you got what is going on. I have a similar tactic.
Yeah.
Every morning is creative work, which is for me, and afternoon is like hustle. Morning creation, afternoon hustle. So morning is like working on my notes, studying, and writing. So I just pick any of those three. Afternoon is like my meetings, you know, like email outreach, you know, paying the bills. So I know that's been working for me. It's like I just pick anything creative in the morning, and I pick any business-related thing in the afternoon.
I feel so guilty about that because how it works for me is that in the morning, try to get out of bed, and in the afternoon, it's just actually try to do something. So it's been a crazy way of
trying to find out what my habits are gonna be like. I feel so disoriented right now with habits. Most of the time, it's stuff, you know, like a one particular thing a day, and then work on that. If you want to use a habit app, you know, it's like, okay, I'll wake up this time every day, and then just build on that. You know, you have built your habits. You know, you couldn't do it overnight. You know, all those habits you've lost. I mean, you have to do it. You build it one by one. Yeah. Yeah. For me, one thing with this whole quarantine thing, since I can't go out and like do the things that I usually do, like physical things I usually do, I kind of have this like small exercise routine in the morning. And the way I kind of treat it is like brushing my teeth. Just like I wake up, you know, you wake up, you shower, and you brush your teeth. Right after you have your meal, you brush your teeth. That's how I'm treating my mini exercise routine. And right, it's just something that I have to do, and regardless of like I don't have a set time to do it, but it's just something a box that needs to be ticked before I do other stuff. Yeah. And that kind of takes care of like just me feeling guilty about just not doing anything physical throughout the day. Yeah. Just treating it as like. Yeah, I think it's like I think everybody just has a different way of approaching. Like I think your concern is like you wanted how do you divide like creative time to work time, that sort of thing, right? I'll pick with my daily routine, even my weekly routine. I have a weekly schedule, you know, so it's divided to quant, capricho, and anything like that. No, but it's like this 4-month routine. No, I have this good routine that will last for 4 months, and then after that, the next month, it feels like it's not working aside. No, but eventually after the second month, that routine feels good aside. But I have certain periods. There's nothing wrong with that. There's explanation for that. I think there's an explanation for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because honestly, I think that's how creatives are. Creatives can't be stuck in a routine for too long, and the change of routine is necessary for the creative process to work. No, so you change, your circumstances change. So your routine has to change. You have to adapt to your new you when you have grown and your new challenges around you, which has changed. So you have to change your routine as well. It's like, yeah, so it's normal, right? It's normal. So it's not abnormal, man. I mean, it seems like you guys are weird, but not abnormal. Alright. I think there's something that is to be said of what McCoy said a while ago about the brushing the teeth. So regardless of what season that you have in right now, the thing that McCoy mentioned about brushing the teeth, in Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit, it's referred to as a keystone habit. It's that one thing that you do repetitively that sort of kickstarts all the rest of the things that you're supposed to do. So with every season that you have, you just have to identify your keystone habit so that when your season changes, you're able to work on that keystone habit to kickstart the rest of your habits for that particular season. Yeah, there's also, I think, the misconception that you should only do things when you feel like you need to do, like when you feel like it. I mean, sometimes you just have to do it, right? So there's, like, let's say exercise. No, what I found is I just incorporate it into a system. Kind of like, so for me, it was just to choose to not use a car anymore and just use a bicycle. So like exercise is built in. For example, like meeting other people. So instead of like having to go out and meet other people to make a real choice to do that, it's built in when I do a podcast episode because automatic I meet other people. Or the system of like sharing ideas, bouncing off ideas with other people. The mastermind is made in such a way that it is built into all of that. So it's not a hard decision. I'm not forcing myself to exercise or to socialize or to, it's built in. That's how I've been able to put all those things. That's why I find it so hard to be on an indoor trainer. My God. I feel it's horrible. I know, it's crazy. Look for new things. It's like, maybe it's not maybe the second best biking thing will make your relationship with it worse, yeah? Maybe you should like, put a big screen, right? And then have this YouTube video na 1 hour cycling through the woods. I did that. It was really hard. Yeah, you're speaking through traffic in Cebu. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's something that I noticed I've been doing. Cool. Alright, guys. Okay, so I think we're good. Good to touch base with everybody. Where's the next one? Can we have this more frequently than the monthly thing? Because this is the most social contact I've had in a long time. Yeah, you know, the ECQ has just been extended. So we're here for a while. The ECQ for Manila. In Cebu, they haven't announced it yet, but the only Cebu has requested for an extension. Yeah, and for sure, whatever Manila does, it'll trickle down. Yeah, let's do this every week, and anyway, we have a lot of time now. I mean, it's not like you have anything else to do. Don't do it. Just a note, so McCoy's in New Zealand. We'll just, what time is it now there, Coy? 4 hours ahead of you guys. Okay, so it's not so bad. 1:30 is not a bad time. Yeah, it's sunset kanina sa kanya when he turned on the lights. I don't know, Coy, is 1:30 a bad time, or? That's right, it's right here. My class usually ends around 3. Oh. Here. Yeah. Okay, so it's a good time. Okay. Alright, everybody. That was a good one. I'll send you the recording. Alright, I'm gonna end the meeting. Okay, thank you guys for, first of all, thank you, Kahlil, Mark, John, Jonas, and Mo, for allowing me to post our mastermind episode as a podcast, and even including your faces on YouTube. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you to all the Patreon supporters for subscribing to 032 Conversations on Patreon. If you want to support 032 Conversations on Patreon, consider doing it and heading over to patreon.com/032. That's 032 in letters. The music from this podcast is Piano March by Audionautics. This whole thing was done using Zoom. Maybe more Zoom episodes to come. See you next Tuesday. Bye.